Hi, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm Corey Three-Wing, and today we are gathered to talk about the power of effective choices. This is part two, basically, of true choices. Before we get too started, I want to give a shout out to the other coaches in the room that are hosting with us today. I'm Corey Three-Wing.
I am Lara, and I'm so happy to be here.
I am Sarah, super excited to kick off spring with another episode.
And I am Kim. It is so nice that everybody could join us today. It's going to be a great session.
Right on. Thank you, guys. The four of us have been working together for quite a while and creating some sessions and content for you today. Some introductions beyond us. We've got some people from all over the globe in here with us today. We've got some brand new people who've never been with us before who found us. They're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got some returning guests. We've got people who are certified coaches and who are working on becoming coaches. But most importantly, we've got some clients in the room, people looking for coaching, the benefits of coaching and how that can be useful for them on their path. Love that so very much. Just a little reminder, we are recording this today for our own use and education. If you choose not to be recorded, please go ahead and keep your camera off, and that way we will know not to call on you when we open the circle. Also, just to preserve and to maintain the best sound quality that we can, please keep your mics on mute, except for when you're speaking, of course. And thank you for that. Today's topic, the power of effective choices. Now, okay, what the heck does that mean? So I want to talk a little bit, we're going to dig that up a little bit. So there's the core four true choices. We're going to get into that. The cornerstones, those are the next four choices. And then there's some priorities after that. But all of those things create a level foundation and a place to create from. We create from our true choices. So definitions. Okay, in this work, it's kind of hard to run to Merriam Dictionary and look up true choices. It's just not there. So in this world, we've kind of harvested a few pretty poetic words around definitions of true choices. One of them, the first one is, it's purely inspirational. A true choice speaks from your heart because you love it. It is your heart song. It is a choice made in love. It is a choice of something that you choose to manifest, something that you want to have in your life. It's not a goal. It's not a wish or a dream. It's a strong choice, right? It's a choice with an end result in focus. We talk a lot about end results. We target on the end result. A true choice is a choice made with the emotion of the end result, and we bring it into the experience of now. We think about that end result and what would it feel like to have it come true. We step into that emotion and make it as real as we possibly can. We trust our fierce imagination to make it up and then to believe it. A true choice is a choice made purely because you love it. You love it. So we all make these choices that resonate with our hearts and our souls because we love them. They have our attention. They get our resources. They get our money, our time, our attention. And so we want to find and make choices that really reflect who we are and what we want to share with the world. What's the life we live, right? The choices we're making affect the life we're living. So when it comes to choosing what we want to create, what is it that is true to your heart and soul? So how do we figure that out? What is that? Well, a true choice is a choice you make because you love it. We're going to say that about 1,000 times, and we're going to reinforce that maybe 10,000 times, right? We're going to come back to that a lot. So a true choice, it inspires you. Nothing else included, nothing else attached. It's just pure inspiration. It's being 100% happy with what is right here, right now, and just wanting a little more of that, right? And the truth is we are absolutely not trained to do this, right? We are not at all educated to make these kinds of true choices. It's important to remember that probably our parents and our mentors and teachers weren't taught this either. So this is kind of a new wave of thought happening in our time, in our universe, in our planet, about how to make these choices. Sarah,
Right?
Sarah,
You
throw the ball
know,
to you.
sometimes, we're working away at life, and sometimes we're making progress and sometimes we're not. So when you look at the progress that you're making with the choices that you have made, are you getting there? Is it happening for you? Like, is it flowing? Is it coming along? Is it going well? Or are you kind of back and forth, and one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, one step back, that oscillating back and forth, stop and start? Or are you just stuck and it's just not happening? So sometimes you'll get really inspired and you'll really want to go with something. And then that inner dialogue starts and it just keeps talking inside your head over and over and over again. And you start questioning your own choice. So you might switch from, God, I'd love this. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe that's more reasonable. Or that this would be, how somebody else would do it. Or you're looking for approval. And, you really have to know that the minute you start doing that, the moment that any of those thoughts start, the minute you shift what your choice is and you reconsider it, then it's not a true choice anymore. And it's going to just set you up for that oscillation, that back and forth, or being completely stuck. So you're not going to be in flow because it's not going to be a true choice anymore. It's really important to look at those choices, the big ones and the little ones, and just see if you can find all of those little attachments, all of those little add-ons and limitations, the things that make the choice ineffective, right?
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I mean, it's just so important to know the difference. The beginning of being able to manifest our thoughts into reality. We hear that all the time, right? That we can do that. But the beginning of that starts with the choices we make, right? What do we even want to manifest into reality? And we want to understand the difference between true choices and, like you said, Sarah, ineffective choices. So we want to start with something we truly desire to have or to be just because we love it. I'm going to put this here, right? Just because we love it. I have a prop today. Like Corey said, we're going to hear that over and over and over. It's not a true end result if you need more than one reason to have it. It's just because you'd love it. So if you ask yourself, why do I want this? There's only one true answer: because you'd love it. Oops, switch this. There are 8 ways that we create an ineffective choice. And we're going to go through each of those 8 ways later. So if there's any other reason besides I would just love it, it's either one of the 8 ways that we're creating an effective choice, or it's coming from an orientation towards one of those sabotaging identities that we've talked about so much. An ineffective choice will not get us into that emotion of the end result that Corey referred to earlier. We want to start off by understanding that an end result is an end. It's a completion, and an end implies a new beginning, a new place to create again, to dream again, to continue to be the creator that you're here to be. A completion or end result is a value. Another thing that we've talked about quite a bit, a feeling, an emotion, a chosen emotion. When we choose an end result as a true choice, it's based in love. We love it. Once we get into a true end result, we get to make choices based off of that end result.
Oh, right on, right
Great.
on. All right, so we've divided these up, right? So we talked a bit at the very beginning, the core 4. We're going to start there, the core four. Then that goes into the four corners, and then it goes into some other priorities, some secondary choices, and what we're going to call them. But right off the bat, let's start at the beginning with the core four orientational choices. Now, orientation, this is important. We start here because it gets you oriented, into a level foundation as from a place to create, right? If one of these four things is out of balance, your cosmic house will fall down on your unstable cosmic foundation, right? So these are the four corners, right? First one, you make a choice to live a life you love, right? That seems pretty easy, like a pretty easy choice to make. Seems ideal in a lot of ways. But we're going to unpack that. Another one, health and vitality, choosing health and vitality. Of course, we want to be healthy. We want to be vital so that the rest of this can even happen. Another one, the choice to live your true nature and purpose. Who are you? Why are you here? What's the gift you're here to give? And the last one here of the core four is the choice to be the predominant creator of your life, right? You're in charge. It's your world. You're the captain. You're at the helm. So we have these four choices that orientate us to this kind of new way of being. If you orient it in the problem solving reality, you look at what needs to be solved or what needs to be fixed, and here you are trying to resolve your identity. So we must orient yourselves to a new way of being you as a creator instead of a reactor, right? Predominant creator. We're going to step into creation as opposed to reacting to the world as a victim. So the first of these choices that we make is to live a life that you love. So this is a place of, total acceptance of your world, total appreciation of your life so far, what got you here, and a choice to live in love and joy as a priority. Wow, what a cool thing. A choice to live in love and joy as a priority. I had to say that again. All right, so the second one. All right, the second orientational choice is to live in health and vitality. You want to be healthy, you want to be vital. So I choose the end result of health and vitality. Without having vitality, you're not here. So it's necessary to orient you. You need health and vitality to carry out all of your other choices, right? You got to be healthy, vital. The third one is to live your true nature and purpose. So, okay, what is that? What are you here to do? What gifts are you here to give? What feels so good that it has your attention and your energy a lot of the time? How do you fill your well, right? Your cosmic well. What brings you this fulfillment? The answer to these questions are a guide to what is your true nature and purpose in this life. And we're going to unpack some of that in a little bit. Then the fourth one, we're going to come back to this again and again, to become that predominant creative force in your life. Okay, so what is that? Let's unpack that a little bit. Let's establish an understanding right here that your power is not dependent on external realities, right? Your power comes from within you, and part of the wounding of the human journey is we give our power away in exchange to get things we need or to feel safe. The wizard's gates when we take that power back. So your power comes from and always has come from inside of you. It begins, or maybe perhaps returns, your power returns with an affirmation of that internal reality. You are powerful because you choose to be a causative force in your own experience. You are causing things to happen, right? Predominant creative force. You are powerful because you choose to be an individual who has an impact on this world without asking anyone anything for that permission. You are powerful because it is a state of mind. So embracing that you are indeed that predominant creator of your life is a massive taking of your power back from where you gave it. You're taking it back. So being that predominant creator means you are at the helm, you are the captain of your ship. You get to create the life that you love. You get to be healthy and vital. You get to be fulfilled with your true nature and purpose. So these four things are the core four orientational choices, and they come first. right? They create that level playing ground, right? If this is the foundation upon which you're going to create, that's the level playing field that we get to build on top of. So we can just start by working on those 4 things, you know, and so you use those as your orientational choices. And that's a great place to start. And all of us, every one of us has this in common. These 4 things, every one of us can relate to.
Yeah, we all have those needs, and they are really strong cornerstones. When you keep those all in balance, which we take you through some processes to help you set those 4 cornerstones in your life. But the next piece are what we like to call the pillars. They're the primary choices. So these primary choices, we also call them the 4 F's. Now, those choices, they're about you, your experience, like your life. So the first one, fitness. So when we're talking about fitness, yes, we talk about physical fitness, but there's emotional fitness, there's mental fitness, there's spiritual fitness, right? So we want to consider all aspects of being physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually fit. What does that look like for you? How does that look in your life, in this life that you love, in your true nature and purpose, as the predominant creative force in health and vitality? What does fitness actually look like for you? And we're making this, now we're making these choices personal. The next F is family and tribe. And family, this isn't just your blood family, this is your inner circle. These are your people, right? And who do you learn from? Who do you work with? Who do you teach? Who's mirroring your growth? And who's your inspiration, right? So those people, that the family, what choices are you making around family, and how does that look in this life you love? And then we get to the third one, which is your fulfillment. So what fills your cup? What fills your well? What swells your heart? What proves to you in your life, in your own experience, what is it that proves to you that you're on the right track, you're on the right path, you're going down that right road? And then the fourth one, the fourth of the primary, is finances. So that's money. It's the choice of having a quality relationship. And you're having a quality relationship with money. And so how do you relate to money? How are you going to coexist in this world, in this here and now, with your finances, with money? And what does that look like in your world? How does that translate into your life? And what choices are you going to make around that? So those are your 4 F's, your fitness, family, fulfillment, and finances. So now you've got the 4 core that Corey went over, those core orientational choices. Now we've got the 4 F's, those pillars, and they're in place. So there's 8. Lara?
Can I go next? Okay, so after that comes your secondary. Hold on just a second. I've lost my screen. Just give me 2 seconds here, guys. Okay, so your secondary choices come next. Secondary choices are totally and completely unique to you, to your magic and your gifts. The others, you know, the core orientational choices, those are for everyone. Everybody is going to want to orient from those choices. The second 4 that Sarah talked about, those categories are going to be common to most people, but they'll be unique to you, but the categories are going to be similar. And these secondary choices are going to be all yours. They're going to be just for you and the things that you choose and you want to do in this life. They're not always the big long-term or life choices. Some of them may be. They come after you solidify. We want to choose these after you solidify the more foundational ones and get those in place. So you see the hierarchy here. First, you orient with the core orientational choices, then you make your primaries, and then the secondaries. The secondaries may change more readily, more frequently than the others. Now, each of those choices can be, all of those can be in one of three states. And we've talked about these a lot too. They can be flowing, which means they're moving or in momentum. You're on your way to achieving those. They can be stuck, so they're not moving, not flowing. That's when it's just not happening. Or if they can be oscillating. And we've talked about this a lot too. This is when something's moving sometimes, and then sometimes it's not. You make a little progress and then you go back a little bit. So you're not really getting anywhere, but it feels like something's happening. And most people and most of their choices are in oscillation to some degree. So now what happens when you've got your choices set up? You've chosen in all of those three different categories. Well, then, of course, we implement a plan of action. And the way we do that here in our world is the lenses process. So what are lenses? Firstly, lenses, they're like a huge love letter to yourself. Lenses are a tool to harvest your true choices and then identify the path to manifesting them. So it's a plan of both discovery and action. Lenses are a way that we orient to know what we should be doing every single day to move towards those choices, having those choices. And they move us from objectives and targets down to the actions. So you have your orientational choices, your primary choices, and then you have your secondary choices. And we fit them all into your lenses. Corey?
Right on. Thank you, Laura. Wow, that's a lot of information right there. Right? A whole bunch of ways to choose things and where to look for them and how to stack them. And we get to do that. We get to do that. And we do that. When we know it or not, we're doing that. So take a little bit of peace of mind that you're doing this unconsciously already, but doing it consciously is when massive action can happen, But let's take a little look at what's going on already. We're educated, like in our lives up until now, in a way that we absolutely look for approval from others on our choices. And this is really one way that we make ineffective choices that really sets us up for stuck or oscillating structures, right? So now we're getting into a little bit of, ineffective choices. Like, we're talking about effective choices. Everything up above this moment earlier in this lecture today is talking about the good way, the good things, the structure of how to choose and why it's important. Here, we're going to get into a little bit about ineffective choices. And an ineffective choice will never work well because it's not really resonating with the truth, right? What does that mean, right? Oh my gosh, what kind of delusion or illusion are we living in? That kind of thing is limited, right? It's a narrow view of the wide possibility. And there are several ways that we make ineffective choices. And I want to unpack that a little bit with you guys today. We're going to dig into that a little bit. We're going to look at both sides. We're going to look at the ineffective choice, then we're going to turn it upside down and turn it into the realm of possibility. Right. So pay attention a little bit. Let's see if you can find yourself in the story here. See if you can find your own experience in your choices in your life as you're looking at your past and creating your future. Really think of choices that you have made and ask what the choices I'm making now are either, where are you? Are you oscillating? Are you totally stuck? Are you flowing like mad? Are you running right towards it easily? Right? So, these kinds of choices have nothing to do with you as a person, your personality. It's not about right or wrong. It has nothing to do with your capability or incapability to make choices. It has all to do with our education, our conditioning, our upbringing, our belief structures. And to be honest, it's just structural, creative structure. How creative is your structure? How effective is that structure? We've done lots of talking about structure. We've got episodes talking about structure. We're not going to dig into that too much here today, but we will refer to it here in the future many times. It always comes back to that. So let's get into this. The 8 ways we make ineffective choices. That first one is limitation. We're going to look through the lens of the world through limitation, right? So we're going to look at making choices through this. What does that mean? So that means we're choosing only what seems possible, right? So now that cosmic menu of the world became a very tight little short late night menu. We're seeing the world through limitation. That means lack or less than or not enough, right? So there's emotions attached to this. Now, as we sculpted this document today, as we talk about the emotions attached to these 8 ways, these 8 ineffective choices, it's really the byproduct of the emotions, the world the emotions live in. We're not going to talk about sadness and happiness as much as the world that creates it. And so the emotions attached to limitations comes from a world of feeling tense or doubtful, worrisome, limiting, lack, right? So like, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough time. Through limitation, I would love to do that, but ... right? And so there's a dream, but now it's edited down. It's not the ideal dream. There was a true choice of all the things, and now maybe I can only have this much, right? I'm not good enough. Okay, we turn that upside down. What is the opposite of limitation? Well, that's limitlessness. Okay, so what does making a choice from limitlessness look like? Well, that's choosing from an infinite menu of possibility. Did you feel the energy change just right there from limited to endless, infinite possibility? So the emotions attached to limitless and possibility, those are joyful, excited, thrilling, and motivating, right? So in limitlessness, there's the power of daydreaming. Daydreaming, what a cool thing to spend your time doing. Often we were told when we were kids, you're daydreaming, focus, come back to the world. Daydreaming is bad. Well, daydreaming is the magic of it. The dreaming, then the redreaming of the dream. We harvest those details, we decorate our dreams, and then it becomes endless, right? So important. We decorate with more amazing detail every time we come back from the redream. Those dreams begin to take a life of their own. And so we ask what else could be? What else? Oh my God, it got this good, this quick. What else is there? And we do that again, and it gets bigger. And we do that again, and it gets bigger. So we allow, in limitlessness, we allow our mind to wonder. Now we're wondering about things. And we're also wandering. Now we're wandering in the realm of possibility. What will you find when you're wandering? Wow, gifts and surprises are now possible. The unknown becomes known. The realm of the unreachable becomes tangible in your hand, right? So then it's like you go into this limitlessness, and it's like, oh, well, what if? And then that turns into, oh my gosh, and now. And that turns into, oh my gosh, well, that just turned into this, and that allows for. So I can. And then, and this, and that. And it goes on and on. Very different, very different. Sarah, what's the second one?
I love how it opens up all of these possibilities where, you take a notion that you want to have something, and maybe you start imposing limits on yourself, but if you can get that flipped around and do that, and you grow it out, it's just such a different experience of life. But another ineffective choice, and maybe you'll notice some of these thoughts, some of these feelings, and maybe you're dealing with having chosen something indirectly. So it's a choice by indirectness. So what's that look like? That's a vague intention. It's a little blurry. It's a little roundabout, kind of half a choice. Just deliberately taking the long way around because it's kind of half-baked. It's when you get a half-baked notion. And people Like other people will see it. You might not, but it feels like this. You're questioning, you're really doubtful, you're just not sure. You've got more questions than answers, and you're just uncertain all around you, just not really willing to jump right in, not really willing to swim in the deep end of the ocean of that choice. You're more focused on going down the road as opposed to where the road is taking you. It's paying attention to the process instead of the result. It's postponable, put it off till later, do that tomorrow. Never really considering that you might actually arrive, might actually get somewhere. There isn't any arrival when you're being indirect and vague. It's really easy to say, well, I'm going to go. It's like, I'm going to take a trip, and I'm going to go on a road trip because, then you've got more, you've got more say so in what you're doing. But I don't have to go yet because I'm driving. And then I'm going to pack this, but maybe I should do some laundry first. And then, well, I suppose I could just do it. You're not actually getting anywhere. There's no plan there. It's just really vague, and it's just a half-baked notion that you're going to take a road trip, and it's not going to get you out the door, right? So when you're feeling like, okay, well, I have to do this first, or before I can do this, I have to do that, or I'm going to have to solve this problem before I can. Now, if you take that, if that's you can take that choice, that ineffective, indirect approach. What if it was direct? What's that feel like? What is it? That's clear intention. That's having a goal in mind. That's a straight line. That's a straight path. It's focused. You can be excited about it. You're really clear where you're going. It's very goal oriented. And what does it feel like? Your emotions are excited, happy, committed, engaged, connected, really focused on that end result way more than the path. It almost doesn't matter how you're going to get there because you're focused on where you're going. And that leaves you open to possibilities, collaboration, things that you just never considered, but you're open to new things coming in. You're predetermined to achieve and complete. You're arriving at the end result. That's your given. It's not this vague notion, half-baked notion of taking a road trip. It's, I got the hotel booked. I got to be there by 2:00. It's the same choice with a different focus, and it gets you moving. It gets you going. It organizes what needs to happen. Right? So it's a lot easier to continue. It's a lot easier to stay focused, and you can meet those deadlines when you have a direct choice.
Oh my goodness, Sarah, I feel the residue. I feel an old residue of vagueness and blurriness. And I hope you're all feeling that the contrast, the heaviness of these, the ineffective choices versus the lightness of, the briskness, the moving forwardness of effective choices. Now, I've got another one here. Another ineffective choice is choice by elimination. So here, we limit all other possibilities, so only one or very few choices remain. Emotions around this way of choosing are really loaded with lack, with surrender, with overwhelm, exhaustion. You're stuck in the last resort, the only option. You feel powerless and wounded, broken. There's really an away mentality and a focus on what you don't want, or an ending up with what you don't want. Here are some familiar thoughts that go along with this way of choosing. I had no other choice. I had no options. That was all that was left. Can you just feel the heaviness of that? I know I can. This was a familiar one to me. It's really characterized by feeling lonely, alone, and limited. And then the opposite way of choosing would be around inclusion and being open to all possibilities. I feel the difference between all possibilities, between everything out there and just this last one thing that was left over for me. Our emotions here are filled with openness, wonder, and a word I love, just awe, being awed, like a little kid who's seeing something for the first time. This, look what's in front of me. Tribe and team here are positive and necessary for the good of all. There's a responsibility for self, for skill, and for resources that allows for greater collaboration. Here, in this way of choosing, we're feeling included, and we are including others, which strengthens the greater wisdom of the circle and opens up all possibility. Being inclusive allows for sharing visioning and shared visioning and shared results. I love the contrasts here.
Boy, I think we can all relate to when we're not included and want to be, and when we are totally included and the power of that. That's a nice contrast. Well, maybe it's not a nice contrast. It's a contrast for sure. Another ineffective choice, right, is making choice by default. By default. So by default, that's a choice to not make a choice, right? It's all that is left is reaction at that point. You're reacting to the world. I'm stuck. And some of these emotions around default are doubt and foggy, unclear. There's no commitment. There's a sense of being in limbo. There's also a sense of being fragile, easily broken, subject to your environment. There's a sense of, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not capable, right? Other people and their circumstances come first, right? Where are you in the mix when it's by default? Here you're giving your power away. You're surrendering your power, right? You're not equal. You're a victim to the world and powerless, right? Wow, by default. So the flip side of that, right? If we were to look it up, I would say, how do you define the opposite of default? Well, in a banking or money way, well, that's when you pay up. If your bank account's in default, you got to pay for it. Okay, so let's look at that together. Pay up and pay for, right? So, all right, you're engaged in the world. You're making decisions with the ability to show up and be engaged and be involved, but put your resources behind it. You're going to choose to make and employ choice. You're using the power of choice. You're going for it, right? If you're going to pay up and pay for, now you're dreaming it, you're making it happen, you're taking responsibility, you're owning it, you're choosing it, creating it, you're making it so. You're putting it in place. You're the one pushing the go button. These emotions, of course, are like, wow, I'm excited, I'm proud, I'm open, I'm clear, I'm creating. Right? Clear choices and clear about end results. Now there's ownership, there's stewardship, there's leadership, right? Action oriented, in your power, being powerful. Now there's a contrast between two places.
Then you might find maybe in your life you've made a decision that was conditional. You've chosen to do something conditional. And what exactly do we mean by that? Well, it's imposing preconditions. So that would be a choice to only make a choice if and when certain limitations are in place first. So that is, you know, if and when, and just little add-ons, little riders. I'll do that if. I'll do that if you do it with me. I'll do that if I get this first. I'll do that if, or when this happens, or when these circumstances are present. It's putting yourself in the second chair. You're a subordinate. You're in the back seat. You've got limited power, if you've got any at all. So you're choosing to do it, but only when all of the stars align a certain way. And then you've just given the power away, and it keeps you distant from that choice. So you'll hear people say, oh, I'll only do that if, or yeah, I could do that, but if you hear those thoughts, you notice those thoughts in your own mind, or you hear that, that's just a little bit of a red flag for a conditional choice. Is it really true? Is it really a true choice? No, you're letting external circumstances control your choices. You're giving control away. And you end up putting these rules and these limitations, these conditions. So you've got this long rider of conditions. They become the priority, not the choice. And that leaves you absolutely no room for anything magical to happen at all. Everything's about all of these conditions. Have you met the conditions? Have you met the conditions? And that is coming from a place of not perfect, right? It's this tendency towards this I am not perfect orientation. So that's a little sign of that particular sabotaging identity, which we've covered in some other episodes. But let's take that conditional choice and see what it would look like if it was an unconditional choice. So let's make choices not to narrow things down, not to restrict. Let's make every choice grow more options, more choices. Let's let it expand. What does an unconditional choice look like? That looks like limitless possibility. That's choosing to see all of the options, so many options, before even taking action, noticing all of the options, engaging in dreaming and harvesting all of those details, and then dreaming it again, and then redreaming it, and then one more round, thinking up more and more and more. And then what? It's a place, it's a state of being that puts you in this inherent excitement and wonder. Everything's wonderful, joyful. It's endless opportunities. It's just more. It's like going to a fair as a child. You can go on all of the rides and have all of the food and whatever you want. You can try all of it. You have all day to do it. It's a really exciting, uplifting feeling, which is entirely different than having all of those conditions. So it leaves you feeling powerful and optimistic. It gives you that inner power and all of the room for the magic to happen.
That feels good.
I want all the magic.
I do
That one
too.
felt so good. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling the contrast so much. I've got another one. We've got another way of making ineffective choices, which is choice by reaction. Here, our choices are designed to overcome conflict. Here, we're a victim of the world, of the things that happen to us. Things can feel endless. Things can feel tiresome. Our emotions are defensive. We're overly cautious or careful. And our feelings, our emotions are based in blame. There's a negative tension. We are doing damage control. We're managing problems. We're backpedaling, undoing, wishing we hadn't, wishing we could do something differently. We're avoiding unwanted conditions and circumstances, just wanting to get away from them. Our motivation is really stored in negative situations and that away mentality. Get it away from me. I want it away from me. Even small amounts of success kills our motivation. We just want relief from the offense. We don't even really desire an end result. We can't even see end results here. We're just too busy. We're consumed with reacting and being in that victim mentality. On the other side would be choosing through creation. And here, our choices are made, they're made from the heart. There's no conflict. The only tension here is positive tension, the creative tension that we're always talking about. Our emotions are filled with excitement and possibility and love and joy and bliss and contentment, all those good feelings. Our true choices are engaged here. They're locked and loaded. We're motivated to take action. We're crystal clear on our end results. And we're feeling those juicy, delicious emotions of the end results. We're open to unconsidered possibility. And now we're in a place of power and of choice. Love that one. Sarah, you got another one?
That one's such a good one, Lara.
Right, I love it.
You know, going through all of these different ineffective choices, it's like a lot of times you don't even realize, I mean, you decided to do something and we're not accustomed to unpacking this in this way. But if you notice some of these thoughts, some of these phrases, any of this hitting home with you, it's a clue to show you where your choice points are, right? But this next one, I I run into it every so often. It's a choice by adverse possession.
Wow.
Now, what is that?
What is
What is
that?
that?
What is that? What
What's
even?
that?
Well, this is those you've all met them. You've all met people who make choices by adverse possession. So I'm going to tell you what it looks like. Okay. This is where you get that phone call from that friend who says, well, I saw a dime on the street. And when I leaned down to pick it up, a bird flew by. And it was a message to tell me that I needed to sell my house and quit my job. And so I did.
What does that mean?
Or, you know, I really am not sure what to do. So I am going to wait for my guides to tell me what to do. I'm going to wait for a sign. So this adverse possession, this is a choice that you make that is based on what we're calling hazy metaphysical notions. So it's a perception, but when you're making a choice based on this hazy metaphysical notion about the nature of the universe.
Mhm.
That actually, and it seems pretty, I saw angel numbers on a license plate, and so, oh my gosh, I need to get a lottery ticket. Seems harmless. In a lot of cases, it is, but what are you really doing there when that's how you're making your choices?
Mhm.
Where is the power there? So when you've got this external focus, you're looking outside of yourself for help to make these choices. You're looking for signs from the universe. You've got all of these feel-good ideas, but are you willing to show up for yourself? Is there any action there? Or are they hazy metaphysical notions? You'll notice if that is a way that you tend to make decisions, you are probably more aware of what you don't want while you're thinking you're not.
Wow.
So really take a look at how that actually looks in a structure, right? How are you making decisions, and where is the path of least resistance? Where is the power? And you've got emotions filled with reaction, hope, short-term solutions, waiting. It's like, oh, I'm doing this and all excited. Now I'm waiting, and oh, I need to ask my guides and get the pendulum, and I need a tarot card reading, and I need to see 4 feathers and 2 angel numbers before I make a decision.
Right. Hey, Sarah, I just want to interrupt for a quick sec. We were listening to William Whitecloud this week, and he gave a brilliant example of this, where a friend of him and his wife years ago went and got a reading from a tarot reader or a fortune teller. And they said to her that, you're set, you're going to live in a mansion and be well off forever. Well, that was 30 years ago. And she just said, great, it's handled. And she never took action. And she's as poor as a mouse today as she was back then.
Oh, goodness.
So that was a great example of
Right,
that.
that's
right
a perfect
there.
That's
example.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, so we've got superstition keeping you powerless.
There it is. Yeah.
So
Yes.
now if we take that, how can we keep that in check? How do we make a real true choice in that realm? So we want to empower our choices. When we are the predominant creator in our own lives, we are the universe. We are a piece of it. It's up to us. We get to choose. So, there's nothing wrong with, okay, I've decided I really want this. I'm going to take steps to do it. And you take a step and the universe drops a couple of feathers and a dime and gives you a little wink. That's a good day. That's good. But to sit around waiting for it. So there's the turn. So you want to keep your internal inspiration. You want to have your own fierce motivation. You want to have your own joy, bliss, excitement, clarity, wonder, and wander,
Yeah.
and watch the universe for little winks after you choose as the predominant creative force in your life.
Wow. Thank you, Sarah, for going into that. That one's a little hard. That's a harder one to explain, I think. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, this is the 8th one, and I volunteered to talk about this. So this ineffective choice, when we learned about this, it was first called consensus, right? And that didn't sit well with me. And so I had to dig this up and talk about this. And so I've renamed it false consensus, right? So now those of you who know me, I do a lot of work with circle and tribe and bringing people together and the consensus process. And the consensus process is something that I hold dear, and I believe it's magical and powerful. But I will also say right out the bat, most people have not experienced the power of consensus. So I've renamed this ineffective choice false consensus. Now I'm going to dig in this, I'm going to unpack this a little bit. A choice by false consensus is a choice by finding out what everyone else is willing to do. It's other people's happiness without your own voice heard. It's other people's opinions before your own are shared or offered. So you don't want to stand out or make waves. Silence gives your power away. The emotions of this are kind of surrender, or perhaps disempowerment, or inequality, or being shunned or silenced. Whoa, right? That's heavy. Tribe and circle and community, where you fit in, you don't belong, a whole bunch of that is attached to this, right? Upside down. Now I'm going to talk about this a whole lot more to make it clear, right? To really bring this in, because this is one of my joys. It's one of my leadership skills. It's been something I've been doing for more than 30 years in leading circles, working with consensus. So I want to talk about that. True consensus. Making effective choices with true consensus. Now, this is the power of the circle. So the circle, when we all sit in a circle together, like around a campfire, right? It's very different than when we have a bunch of people in an auditorium with a person at a podium, or a bunch of employees listening to the boss, right? That dynamic. We want to rearrange the furniture. We want to rearrange the energy and bring everyone into the circle, right? So right about the bat, the energy structure of communication is different. True consensus takes time, and it does feel like it slows down because we have to talk a lot. Then we get to talk a lot, and that's important here. So in this modern world, most people have never experienced this consensus process. So, all right, what does that look like? When we're in a circle, right, every voice and every opinion is heard and considered. Right? So if we're all in a circle, that means there's a leader in every chair. Every person in the circle has an equal opportunity to speak their wisdom and ask their questions, right? And this is a commitment. Consensus is a commitment. So when we're doing that, we have full access. Everyone in the room has full access to the wisdom, the greater wisdom in the room, when everybody has the ability, the freedom and safety to speak clearly, uninterrupted, and to ask the questions that matter, to speak truth to power, and then receive information, to listen divinely, to offer that wisdom. So now in consensus, it's about decisions. Consensus is about decisions. Decisions are made when everyone says yes. And if you don't get a yes, you're not done talking about it. Right? You're not done sharing, you're not done listening, you're not done unpacking and figuring out what the values of the decision are so that we can make a good one, right? So there's an opportunity to learn and understand all points of view and all values attached to this consensus, right? So when consensus is reached, it works so powerfully. Imagine, if you're with a group of friends and you all say, yeah, we're gonna go to that movie, and off you go. Or you have a bunch of friends in the backyard and say, hey, we're going to do some gardening today. And you're all going to bust ass and do it and get it done. Things move. When a bunch of people say yes, right? That means you're not saying no. You're saying yes, and things happen. So consensus, like I said, is about decision making. Decisions are considered when an end result is proposed to the group. What is the point of the decision? With that proposal, everyone in the circle is offered that opportunity to listen and to question, to offer information and perspective, and to participate in the journey of exploration to arrive at a consensus-based decision. I'm going to talk a little more, right? This is something I really hold dear, and I've experienced it beautifully in my life. When every member of that circle is guaranteed a voice in the conversation in a safe and respectful way, a deep understanding of all those options and points of view create a high level of empathy in the room. There's room for everyone's story. There's room for everyone to hear and understand the details of story. When everyone can and does bring to the table all of that information around a decision, questions, concerns, delights, benefits, both information that could be received as positive towards a decision or maybe negative impacts of that decision. All of that is included. It's all welcome. These possibilities enter the creation of the end result. All of these concerns are now part of the decision with everyone's priorities engaged. Now you can get a sense, this is why most people in modern society have not experienced this. We live in a fast track world. We want decisions now. We want the majority of the vote to say, do it today and then not think about it anymore. Consensus takes a little work, but there's a good side to that, right? Okay, so now we're talk a little bit more. I know I'm talking a lot on this, but I really want to explain it well, right? So when we have a consensus-based decision and someone says, I say no, I disagree, I'm going to block the decision today. So when a block to consensus occurs, this is a really amazing opportunity for the party blocking consensus to offer up the reasons behind that block and to offer how their needs and desires are not being met by this decision, the reasons for the disruption of the consensus, right? This is an opportunity. The group can now engage in harvesting possibilities from the circle, the greater wisdom in the room, to meet the needs of the decision. Now there's more talking, there's more investigating, there's more listening and sharing. Now this takes time and commitment, right? So when this consensus is not yet achieved, it's an opportunity to learn more, to hear and share again, and to understand deeply the needs of the circle. That's important. But this is where the magic happens, right? Within a group who is committed to working together, communicating together, and with a guarantee for each voice to be heard in every decision, the flexibility and the give and take of the inner resources from the circle pave a new, unconsidered path to achieve that end result, right? Now there's a realm of possibility. The wisdom in the room shows up. That empathy that I talked about earlier, one person in this circle says, I need this, and the other person now hears the empathy, the understanding of the ask, and they give up their resources easily because, oh, that's what I was waiting for, and I now have this. There's an engagement. There's a sharing, right? So in the one process, consensus process slows things down. So in the feminine energy of nurture and dream and pray and share and protect, a new vision is shared with the group. A new idea is born, right? And we share that vision. We talk about it. We interplay about what can and can't, what should and shouldn't. How do we make it happen? And then when that vision is finally seen by the whole circle, the masculine energy of fast action begins and creation begins to bring balance, right? This process takes time and energy. And in my years of experience leading groups committed to the consensus process, I have witnessed incredible success and achievement in creating powerful group choices by implementing quick and massive action. So one last thing about all of that. You get a bunch of people in a room who say yes to something, right? They're not saying no. When you're saying yes, you're saying how, and that unlocks the door and things move. It becomes magical, and then that slowness of before turns into lightning speed. There it is, consensus. So thank you for that little rant. It's something that's important to me. Laura.
Love, love, love that so much. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, if you want to live a life you absolutely love, you really have to move into living from a creative structure orientation, as opposed to that problem-solving orientation. Our structure moves our flow along the path of least resistance. We create less resistance by orienting as creators and by choosing a more powerful perspective, by making true choices, not by making these ineffective choices that we've been talking about. You know, we've talked a lot in this group about those seven sabotaging identities, and I'm not even going to name them here because we're in such a powerful place right now. But I am going to talk about the opposite of those sabotaging identities, and you'll recognize the identities as I say them. So one of them is I am absolutely worthy.
Ooh, yeah.
Another is I am good. way more than good enough. I am significant. I matter. I totally belong. I have my place at the table. I am so capable, more than is needed. I am total perfection, period. I love that one. And I deserve it all because I love it. Now, how do those feel? I didn't even want to read the others. How does that feel? And you feel the power behind those? The side effects of being in a creative structure orientation: limitless possibility, directness, clarity, crystal clarity, the power to make huge choices, a creative mindset, not reacting, individual preference, and offering your beautiful, magnificent gifts, action-based decisions, unconditional, unlimited choice.
So yummy.
Yummy.
You know what? With all of this talk, we are making our choices and we think we're doing pretty good. We start hearing this kind of conversations like, okay, hold on a second. You know, really, there's all different ways of getting yourself lined up. But the way we do this, just in summary, all of that to say, there are 4 core orienting choices. These 4 cornerstone choices, you can base your decisions on these choices. And we work on those 4 core because, frankly, there's likely some resistance to having that now. And until there's no resistance, and you're in flow with each of the core 4 choices, you're problem solving. You're in a problem solving structure. So when you're facing the problem to resolve it, instead of choosing what you want to create that could eclipse the things that are no longer for you, then you're not riding your horse backwards anymore. Now, are you? You're facing forward, and you've got these 4 core choices. So we're going to review them. The 4 main cornerstones: a life you love. Live a life that you love. Love every moment on this journey called life. Acknowledge you created it. You get to change it. No step is better than right now. Love your life now. Be excited about your life every day. Be glad to be alive. Have your health and vitality. I choose health and vitality for myself. Creative power towards your health, your energy, regaining control of your body, reconnecting to your power, strength, and health of mind, body, and spirit. That's just awesome. That's awesome. That's a fantastic choice. Make your decisions pointing at that choice. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. So choose to live in alignment with your fullest expression. This is why you're here. This. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. Wow. And there's the power. There's the control over your own experience. Choose your reactions in whatever way you desire. Choose your thoughts. Choose your feelings. Choose what you believe and choose your actions.
There they are. That's all four, the first four, the core four.
Love it.
Larry, you've got a little quote on that one, which I just adore.
I adore it too. And I'll just quickly share the background. I used to do massage therapy and craniosacral therapy. And this thought came to me over 25 years ago when I was in a session cradling someone's head in a craniosacral therapy session. I'm a busybody typically. And when I would work on people in that quiet way, thoughts would drop in. And this one was really significant. And it's just a beautiful sentiment. And it really, and when I look back on it, it really foreshadowed this work that we're doing now. And the sentence was, we are here to be the best and fullest expressions of the unique creations that we are. And we really are here for that. We are here to live absolutely fully and absolutely uniquely. None of us will do it the same way. We're all going to have different gifts, different things that we love, but we get to do it absolutely as fully as we possibly can. And I'm so grateful for all this work and the possibility, the ability to change, to shift, to grow, and to become exactly that. So I love all of you guys.
Laura, thank you for that. It's so much fun working with you guys as we put these things together. Real quick, here in Let's Talk, the four of us coaches that are hosting and, the other coaches in the room, we're here for you, the rest of you, who could be a client or maybe somebody looking for coaching, looking for the benefits of a coach. And that's what this is about. Let's talk. We're talking about in this series, the elements of coaching, what it means to look at, that first part of the human journey, that first part of understanding that you're wounded, that you're in pain, you got some struggle going on, and you're trying to work it out and make some better choices, right? All of us have coaches. We believe in it enough to become coaches. Coaches have coaches and coaches are coaches. We're coaching. If you're a client out there who's looking for, some guidance or some perspective around getting a coach, be that a life coach, transformation coach, life producer coach, any of those kinds of things, you can reach out to us. Kim's going to post the link in there. You can also reach out to us right here. Send us a message, say hi to us. That's what we're doing here today for you. Real quick, Genius Hub, which is our membership site, which is where we actually do the coaching. Here we talk about coaching. Our membership site, which happens on Saturday at the same time. Our topic this week is the double bubble process, right? We're going to actually get into it. We're going to unpack it and we're going to do it. So that's a good
I don't think it's the double bubble process. I think we did that already.
Oh no, it's family entanglement.
It's family entanglement.
Oh, that's right. I didn't change it in the notes. Thank you for that. It's family entanglement. We did double bubble last week.
Oh, family entanglements is so good and juicy. So powerful.
I didn't change it in my notes. There it is. Anyway, then also next week for Let's Talk, we're going to do another episode of this, and we haven't decided what we're doing next week. So as we open the circle, if anybody wants to throw down a topic or a proposed thing that you would like.
Inspiration, please.
Yeah, if you want us to unpack and talk about something that's on your mind, we're open to hear about that. We're definitely working on a couple of those suggestions from the past episodes. We're getting ready to do some of those things. So we want to ask you about that too. With that being said, it's time to open up the circle. There's quite a few people from all over the planet in our circle today. I know we've talked a little longer than we usually do in Let's Talk, but we want to open it up. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear some aha moments or some takeaways. We want to open it up to some possible questions, concerns. We want to know where you're at, right? So my name's Corey, Sarah, Laura, Kim on the horn here, and everybody else in the room. Please feel free to step up. And we're just going to popcorn this. And what that means is, if you want to, go ahead and either push the raise hand button in Zoom or unmic and shout out, whichever way. Who would like to pop in and share a little with us? We'd sure like to hear from you.
I wanted to share real quick that it's so funny when we're in the field, and the more we're in this work, the more we just get absorbed by the field. Because I was just in a practice session before this, and I was just saying, how as children we're scolded out of daydreaming, being allowed to daydream. And I was so good at it. And then when I was introduced to this work, to be invited to grow that muscle again, to grow that creativity again, is amazing. It's amazing. I get paid to daydream now. There's some perspective
So
for you.
good. So good.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kim. I love that.
The power of daydreaming as we make it up, right? It's one of our superpowers. And those of us of adults, we're remembering and relearning how to do just that. Yeah, for sure.
Hi, Corey.
Hi,
Ricky
Ricky.
here.
Welcome. Hi.
How you doing?
So good. How are you, love?
Well, I'll tell you something. I have lots of notes,
Excellent.
and I'm not intending to be critical. I am intending to offer opportunity. I hope you take it that way. I was very impressed with all of your levels of knowledge. That was really, really such a good refresher. But a couple of things that I found that you might want to improve upon. You may not. I don't care. It's not my business. I have a real issue with the word guys because I'm a gal and I like to be included. Now, I know the word gal is a guy is sort of a word that you would think includes everybody, but I'm still a gal. I'm not a guy. So I think the word people would be a better word. That's my opinion. I sent Chris a note about that too. And if you've noticed, he's changed that. If anybody has noticed that, I was really happy about it. I'm not a guy, period. Sorry.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Well, we live in a masculine society, and so we have to use everybody's included with guys. Well, I'm not a guy. I can prove it.
Mhm.
And I belonged to Toastmasters for a long time, so the word is not a word. Pay attention to And this is to Sarah, mostly Sarah. You use the word you over and over again. I like the word we and I because I'm not separated from any of this stuff you're talking about. If you say you osculate, I raise my hand and say, me too. So I use the word we, not and I, and not you. That's a preference. That's the way I do it anyway. Corey, no one taught you how to ask for what you want. That's not true. It's literally not true. And Corey, when we came into this world, we were very clear on asking for what we want. As a young child, I remember saying to my mother, what I want for my birthday is this tricycle. It's all blue, and I love that blue, and it's got sparklies everywhere, and then it's got that stuff that's hanging off the handlebars, and I just love that. Can I have that? Don't tell me that we don't know how to ask for what we want. We do. We absolutely all came in with that skill. If we go back into our childhood, we will absolutely remember those moments in time. We say the adults didn't know how to tap into their own power. No, I lived with a mother that was hell bent on creating a loving, caring, wonderful, supportive family. She knew what she wanted and she created that. What happened, Abby, no. What happened to me is that I didn't recognize that she was creating. I thought she was punishing. Get it? See how we mislabel that? My mother is creating something that's really important, a really happy, contented, healthy family. She wants me to behave in a certain way so I can participate in a happy, healthy family and feel loved and appreciated. I did not recognize that. I do now because I was a mother. I mean, I still am a mother, but they're all grown up. When we're children under the age of 12, we are all self-centered and we're all able to ask for what we want. We do get told no a lot, but we are able to ask. And if you think back at those ages, you will know that you did ask. There's no doubt about it. When we turn into a teen, what happens is we go outside of ourselves. As a young child, we're inside. As a teen, we go outside of ourselves. And we begin to look for affirmation from the outside world. What keeps us in teenageness is that as adults, we have to have a mixture of two. We have to have a balance of going outside into the world and being able to go back inside to be self-centered. So those two have to come together as an adult. And most times people end up either staying in the teenage years of going out to get what they think they want instead of looking inside. Just a little lesson, because I'm a marriage and family therapist and I know this stuff. Sorry. Most of us forget to go back inside. 99.9% of all your clients are going to be focused outside because they have forgotten to go how to go back inside that they did know how to do when they were a kid. I think that's really interesting. Are we creators? Yes, 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 yes. We have created in our lives right now. One of the things that I ask my clients on a continuous basis is, what have you created? What have you created? And they will say, oh, I don't think I created anything. And I'm saying, let's look at your life, and you will discover that on a smaller scale, most people have created great things. I created a great family. When I got married, I made a decision to have a perfectly loving, caring, supportive husband. And that meant, if you don't mind me saying that meant that my husband needed some training, and he got it. And I'm telling you, there's no man on the planet that's better than he is. There's no man better. And I take a lot of credit in that because I was determined that this marriage was going to last forever, in this lifetime anyway. So yes, we are all creators. And one last thing, Corey and Sarah, not so much Lisa, but Corey and Sarah. When you started with your talking in the beginning of it, your voice carried a lot of pushy, force, kind of force. And the way to get over that is to relax your vocal cords. Just before you start speaking, just relax the vocal cords. And in relaxing the vocal cords, you will talk from, as you can feel where I'm talking about, you can just talk from a matter of fact, easy listening, kind of this is what it is kind of thing, which is a whole lot better than really what I think we really ought to do is listen to this and move forward and create. See that, do you recognize the two differences? Mine was an extreme, yours was not that extreme, but that is what I would like to have you do, is relax those
Thank you
vocal
so
cords.
much, Ricky. I need to.
And I'm all done. And I'm all
I
done.
so appreciate your feedback. Do we have any of our new clients have any feedback on understanding what we're talking about when we're talking about true choices and the way that we coach to making sure that a choice is true? Just before we turn off the recording, is there any feedback? I haven't heard from Slay, and I haven't heard from Sharon.
Gabriel was raising his hand, I think, physically.
Oh, okay, Gabriel.
You're on, yeah, there we go.
Cool. I'd just like to thank you all for just giving some clarity behind, these choices that we make, and the true choices and the primary and the secondary, and be able to create the space for us to actually understand. It's very, very thankful for it. And yeah, just how you guys explained it really just opened up our possibilities to understand our decisions and our choices. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks so much, Gabriel.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Right
And
on,
Sue,
everybody.
what
Anybody
was-
else? Anybody else have something to offer before we close it up?
Yes, I love the structure of your presentations. I've got to say, the clarity with which the information is delivered for me is gives me a really good grasp on the information. Really very penetrating. I thank you very much.
We're so happy you're here, Susan. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. It's always nice to be with you, love. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Laird.
Hi, all. This is feels very pertinent for me right now, and I have to just be totally vulnerable and honest and say that I was very distracted through a lot of this session, which actually is illustrative for me personally of what the content of this session was about, because I felt I'm in a place where I've returned home, and home carries a lot with it, and I'm feeling like expectation coming from outside sources to do and perform in certain ways. Like other people's schedules are, more are better than my schedule or my orientation to prioritization. And so it was interesting because many of the moments when I could come back and be in the room with you, I was like, this is so appropriate, but I'm actually distracted by exactly what we're talking about right here, right now. So I might be messaging you for the notes from today's talk.
We got
So-
you there. Don't you worry.
So I can go back through and remind myself, but it was very appropriate for where I'm at today, and so thank you for that salience, and appreciate you all so much.
We love you.
Thank you. We love you. And it's so nice to see you here. I know you left being where you were physically, and you're still here with us the same way you were before. So
Yeah,
it's so nice to see.
we get
Lovely
to carry
to see
these
you.
rooms even though they're different
Yeah.
with us wherever we go.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, Laird. I'll share my notes with you for sure. All right, anybody else before we button it up for the day? Any last nuggets, takeaways, ahas?
I just want to say quickly,
Hi,
it again is perfect. Hello. It's again perfect divine timing. It's true choices. It's clarity. It's exactly where I need to be all morning. So I'm late for my morning, but I just couldn't help but just take as much down as I could. So bless you all. Thank you again. You've done it again.
Right on,
Thanks,
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Good morning to you, Rebecca.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, dear. All right. All right. Any last minute nuggets? Wrapping it up for the day. All right, everybody. Hey, I just want to say thanks again for showing up for Let's Talk and supporting us in what we're doing here. We are here to support you in return. We want to hear from you. We want to know your questions. We want to hear what you got going on. And if you're looking for some coaching, please reach out to us. We're findable. All right, everybody. Kim, I think we're ready to wrap it up. I'm going to say thanks. We're going to see you on Genius Hub on Saturday.
Perfect.
And let's talk a week from today.